Told you, our president said 4 years ago, this cannabis industry will change the economy of this country. He's 100% correct. But we needed to flow. We needed to move. I mean, like I said to you, we had 58 license holders 4 years ago. We're down THC. We're down to apparently 7 license holders still operating. I think Zimbabwe, there's a international quota that gets given to a country from like an international body. So in 2021, they were given a 3-ton quota for Zimbabwe to export, which you can always increase. We never met it, we didn't supply anything.
This is Asake Online. Welcome to Agriculture on Site. My guest today is Mike Querl, a cannabis farmer. He tells us more about his adventurous foray into this enterprise. Mike, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let me get started with what attracted you to mbanje growing?
Well, we love farming, but to be honest, when we first got involved, it was a monetary thing. Because when you learn about the value of what the crop is worth, of course it gets your attention. So yeah, we were doing fish farming on here. Started with the fish farming. We had this property just over, it's about 3.5 years now. So we started with the fish farming, then a farmer friend of mine was looking into CBD, which is industrial hemp, they call it also, but industrial hemp is defined differently, but right. He had CBD, that he had a consultant, but he's a big farmer with row crops. So he was going to put it as a rotational crop. And when I looked and spoke to my son about it, he said, it's far too intensive and it doesn't really like overhead irrigation. So I spoke to the farmer and said to him, for your purpose and the size land you got, it's far too intensive for that. We had the small farm, so I said to him, let me test the 1 hectare here and see how it goes. So he handed over the seed to me and the license and that. We got the license through and then we started growing it here. Mm-hmm. And from when we grew it, we had the consultants from Kennaviga here, supposedly one of the best consultancy companies in the world on cannabis. So they sent their guys out here and that's how we started to learn. When they first came, like I said, the monetary thing, I said to the one consultant, I said, how much flour do we get per plant? And he said to me, well, Mike, if you're really good, 300 grams of flour per plant, exceptional is 500 grams. On our first grow, we did 7,000 CBD plants. We averaged 1.24 kgs per plant. So 4 times what they predicted. And I think it's all down to, yes, nutrition. My son does our nutrition, but I think it's all down to the God-given climate we have in Zimbabwe. Because that same farmer that I took the seeds from when we got that result on the yields, I said to him, my son's nutrition must be 100% right. He said, yes, nutrition very important, but understand that every plant has a place.
Right.
And that still rings true that I think that cannabis, this is its place.
Right. Given that already, when you talk about cannabis, it has various texts. You've already mentioned that there is industrial hemp, there's THC.
So it comes in
if
sort
you
of
just explain that.
To me, it's 3 categories. You get industrial hemp, which you can grow with drag lines and all the rest of it on a pivot. It's done in huge hectarage. The plants are extremely close together like sugar cane, but it's done for the fibers and that. So that's industrial hemp. Then you get CBD, which is also classed in a way as industrial hemp. The license falls under industrial hemp. It's a $200 license, and it's more for creams, wellness products is what they use it for. And then you get medicinal THC, which is used in medicines and that. So it's a more psychoactive part of the plant.
What are you growing your cannabis for?
So at the moment we got THC in at the moment. We harvested last year CBD. So yeah, we at the moment is about to harvest 1.2 hectares of THC.
And what products are we looking at really for?
Well, it's probably going to go into extraction and that for oils and that, and into medical markets. But I think, like I said to you early on, there's a lot of countries that have legalized the smoking of marijuana, and the way we grow it, you've seen the size of the buds and the quality of the product here. I don't see why we shouldn't be selling this product to other countries that have legalized the smoking of cannabis.
And where are the markets for your for your
The markets
cannabis?
at the moment, there's South Africa, but there's also Germany, but you need to be EU GMP certified. Switzerland, our first product we sent was to Switzerland. So we sent 300 kgs of CBD flower to Switzerland.
And so are you growing most of your cannabis for export? Is there
It's all
opportunity for
export
local
at the
market?
moment. In the local market, CBD, they've now done a CBD suppository. I know that Ivory Medical has done some other movement in some products, but yes, there needs to be more value added and more value addition onto cannabis in this country.
And what kind of challenges are they facing growing this crop?
Look, it's taken a long time to learn and get it exactly right because it's a very intensive crop. But the biggest challenge is the red tape at the moment. We need to sit down with government and stakeholders and formulate a plan for Zimbabwe. I've always heard since I've been in Zimbabwe all my life, my great-grandfather, all that. And since I've known we're a sovereign country, we make our own rules. So we should sit down and make our own laws, yes, confined to the rules of the drug and all the rest of it, but make it simpler and easier for the more people to get involved in the industry.
What kind of hurdles really are you talking about the red tape?
The red tape is mainly the costing, the pricing, licensing. We need to just make it simpler and more fluid because like I told you, our president said 4 years ago, this cannabis industry will change the economy of this country. He's 100% correct, but we need it to flow. We needed to move. I mean, like I said to you, we had 58 license holders 4 years ago. We're down THC. We're down to apparently 7 license holders still operating. I think Zimbabwe, there's a international quota that gets given to a country from like an international body. So in 2021, they were given a 3-ton quota for Zimbabwe to export, which you can always increase. We never met it, we didn't supply anything. The next year, 2022, they were given a 3-ton quota. I think 1 kg went, might have been a test sample. 2024, it was a 6-ton quota. I know that in the last 3 years, there's 12 tons of quota. I think 75 or 76 kgs were exported. I think 75 kgs were sent back.
What are the difficulties of actually entering the sector? Is it more of a legal nature, the laws, the policies?
The licensing, the legality of it is very intense, which is fine, but it needs to be done properly and assistance and help needs to be given, not just to be cut short and everything you're trying to do. So we need to drop the fees that are too high.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a $58,000 license, $57,000, $58,000 before you even start. And then it was a $5,000 for seeds, $5,000 for export. There's all sorts of fees you got to pay. We should be pushing this product to export. The government will make the money on taxes and on the export, and we should be showing that Zim can. I mean, if you talk cannabis, you should talk Zimbabwe. I honestly believe that because you've seen the size of the plants we grow. This plant, like I said, every plant has a place. This is it. So we need it. We need it because it's a very intensive crop, very labor intensive. Well, Zim is needing jobs. We need export. It's an export to foreign currency. So we should put a big highlight on this and try to get this industry moving in the right direction quickly.
How have you gone around the obstacles to get to where you are?
Have I?
How have you gone around these
We've
hurdles?
talked to people and yes, we've been helped. Madam Judith has brought the JOC membership here. They've brought ministers here. So it's helped us. But we need to push it faster because, you know, everything takes time. When you speak to people, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes months and months and months and months and months and months. And yeah, we just need to. There's been meetings with MKs and that. They've had virtual meetings and meetings you can go to, but they're changing some of the SIs. But yeah, I think more emphasis needs to be put on this industry to move it faster because we can grow it. We can grow it properly.
You have been in the industry sector for what, 3-4 years now?
3 years, yeah.
And what are the key learnings for you?
Everything. From the growing of the plant, we've got better and better at growing it. There's a lot involved in this plant. You cannot take shortcuts. Like I told you, we've had people coming. It's got a 2-stage life. It's got a vegetative and flowering stage. What we've learned with the nutritions, we've got our nutritions dead right and all the rest of it. But you can't cheapen this. Like I told you, we had people saying that you can use cow manure for the nitrogen stage and chicken manure for the potassium stage. Can't. It's got to be done correctly. There's no shortcuts in this industry. You need to make sure your soils are right. You need to make sure your waters are tested, that there's no chemical pesticides. It's very intensive, the cleaning, the looking after, the airflows. There's a lot involved in this industry, but it's like any farming. You've got to do it right. Don't take shortcuts.
Right. What could be initial really startup cost for you for actually to start growing?
If you're talking CBD,
yeah.
We've done the startup for 1 hectare is about $34,000, but that's including drilling a borehole, a generator, the lights, the irrigation, the land prep, the testing, the seeds, and the nutrition. Mm-hmm. So for the CBD, it's not a huge input. That's the fencing, security, and all that also. And then it's about a 4 or 5 month grow.
Right.
And if you do it correctly and you get the right buyer, you should make 40 to 50 grand out of that grow. And you should be able to do that 3 times a year.
And for the THC?
THC is a lot harder. $58,000 license, I'm hoping they're bringing it down. Then you've got to build your facility. Then they come and check it and check it and check it, and it's all money and time and money and time. Mm. So it's been, I still will stick at it for now. We're trying to export at the moment, so I'm hoping now we can export some. And I believe when we export soon, it'll be probably Zim's first decent export of THC.
Mm. Yeah. I see you're also involved in a program to actually bring in smallholder farmers into this
yes,
sector.
Because I had once heard before that it's too much money to start up farmers, small farmers, because I was in a meeting when a lady asked, how do we get small farmers involved in the cannabis industry? And somebody had said, no, you need $3 million to start. No, you don't. And I think if the small farmers can get started in CBD, it teaches them, because it's not the same high value as the THC, but it's the same plant, it's just different cannabinoids. But once you learn to grow that properly, and you make money of that, then start venturing a small setup into THC, because it's higher value. So if the farmer can make money off his CBD for 2 or 3 years and put money inside and then start going into THC, and at the same time he's learning about the plant, and when he puts his money into THC, which is a more high value one, he has got the knowledge on how to look after the plant, because it's basically the same plant.
What would be any advice and tips to farmers who would be interested in actually venturing into this?
Be passionate about it. You must love what you're doing. I love growing this plant. But also don't take corners. Don't take any shortcuts, don't take corners. It needs to be done properly. Soil testing, water testing, because it's no good doing 4 or 5 months of growing. Somebody will want a CA before they buy any of your bud, whether it be it CBD or THC. And if there's any problem with it, it's basically useless. So it's intricate and it's worth putting all your time. Just do it right. And it's basically, it sounds hard, but it's just steps to follow. And don't miss the steps.
Right. If farmers are actually interested in venturing into growing cannabis,
well,
can they actually?
We've got that one program we're doing through the Honourable Judith Nubi, our Minister of State, with a funder. So that's the one we've drawn up, that we give them the inputs, and then we set up centralized barns. And so we're hoping to do it in 3 areas in Metabee land. So I'm hoping for Nyamandlovu, maybe in that Chobezi area, and then in Douglasdale. Because one part is growing the plant, the second part is curing it properly, drying or curing. So it needs to be done, because you can lose some plants in your field all the time with pests or weather or whatever. If you don't dry your product right, you can lose your whole crop in the barn. But yeah, I think people have been told it's for Metabee land, that they put their names down with the Honourable Judith Nube at her office, at Lasandela Buildings, 6th floor. Once the funder comes through, we'll be going to each of the farmers that have put their name down to check that they have enough water, make sure their soil tests are right, everything's, so that I don't want the program to fail. So it needs to be done properly. I need to make sure, like I told you, the plant, when it's at full age, will run at 1 litre per hour. So if we're putting on outdoor, we'll put 7,000 plants per hectare. So you need a minimum of a 7,000 litre an hour borehole on that property.
So it's not a walk in the park, you know.
No, but it's a nice walk in the park. It's not a walk in the park, but it's a nice journey.
There you are, farmers. There's cash and opportunity in cultivating cannabis. Mike Querl and his wife, Carrie Mitchell, have given a good example in actually in achieving some success in cultivating cannabis. This is Asake Online. Join us again in our next episode where we talk to people who make farming their business. Follow us on all our social media platforms at Asake Online.